Hey guys, I'm here with a quick Nightmare Corridor guide. Now for this guide, a few things has changed since last week because the buff from the Nightmare Corridor, the thing that switches position every week, is now on the second boss instead of the first one. And as you can see here, that means that the top players are now using 3 Maulers in this team to activate the buff. And basically the buff makes it so that your team does more damage if you have at least 3 Maulers in your formation. However, that's actually an issue for me because I use Coratio as my carry unit in some of the later formations, which leads this round to be a bit worse than last round, time-wise and also rank-wise. However, this was what I was able to figure out in a short notice. So, real quick, I just want to know which one was my best time. Should go look at the leaderboard. So we're looking at 4 minutes and 21 seconds here. So this was my best attempt. I played around with my teams a bit, but this was the best find that I could find. So for the first team here, I'm using, interestingly enough, I'm using Edwin and 2 other Graveborn heroes as my backline, and then Lucretia and Vithiel as my damage dealers. This is a bit different from last week where we used the 3 Wilders. In this comp, we used Laika, Mishka, and Raku, but because the buff that is now here on the second boss is no longer the first boss, you can no longer use that formation to the same success. So killing the boss in under a minute is pretty good, and of course we're using no Awakened Heroes, which is also very good and free-to-play friendly. Now, for the second team, this is where you want to use 3 Maulers or 3 Graveborn, and most people are using 3 Maulers, and so am I. However, the best in slot Mauler to use here is Coratio, but he is needed in here for my teams. So for me, I just threw in a Dress in here instead, and then the team is pretty much the same as it used to be, but you throw out Lawson instead. And as you can see, killing the boss in 27 seconds, it's very strong, but it did sacrifice some time on the first team. Now for the next team, this is where I merc Matria. Obviously you can use Kren and you can use Brutus instead, however Matria is slightly better. And this time around, as you can see, I got a fat Matria merc. However, it doesn't really matter because my Orthos isn't really built out, and this is still even though my Orthos isn't built out, his ult still slows down time, which allows the pet to stack, and actually it turns out that he is still the best hero. Trust me, I've tried a lot of things, but even a legendary Orthos does fine here, even though obviously you would want him built out. That would help this team tremendously. For the fourth team, we're looking at the Coratio team, right? And I'm getting to the point where I really want to build another Awakened hero, because if we look at the leaderboards, basically this is the first team is an Athalia team, and the fourth team is a Thane team, right? Athalia and Thane are the 2 Awakened heroes that kind of dominate Nightmare Corridor in the sense that they kill out the bosses really fast, and if you don't have those, replacements are somehow I would say they're pretty hard to come by, especially this time around where Coratio really wants to be in Team 2, but then this team just completely falls apart. For me anyhow, I wasn't able to find a decent replacement. I tried Lucretia in this comp as well, but it wasn't as successful, and this was by far my best time. So yeah, Coratio works as a replacement for Thane, but obviously if you guys had Thane, you would want to put him in here, and also if you had a Thalia build, you would want to throw her into this comp. But for me, and for most of you guys who have neither, this is a fine compromise that still gets the job done, right, in decent time. I will say there were not a lot of guide content for this round out there, so I kind of had to do a lot of theory crafting on myself, and this was what I came this was my conclusion that I came to, basically. For the fifth team, here's the Belinda team, and nothing has changed at all. Positioning in this team actually matters a lot, and this is by far the best positioning for my heroes. Putting these 2 heroes in front and Belinda in the middle. It's pretty important how you position your heroes. You can use Helios instead of Rain, and then that frees up Rain for the first team, which speeds up the first team. However, the gain from putting Rain in the first team versus the loss you from her not being in this team is not worth it at all, in my opinion, and not in my opinion just based on the times that I got. And then for the last team, this is the Scarlet team, right? As you can see, I just I spent all my diamonds and all my cards for awful rates on Damia to get her to Ascended. but I did it anyways. But if you don't have Damia, you can use stuff like Hodgkin in here or any other buffer. And if you don't have Rim build out, you can use Gress instead. It's pretty much just the Scarlet team, right? And obviously, if you had a very big Rim, she would also do a more significant portion of the battle. Now, real quick, I wanted to show you guys the formations that didn't really work out for me. One formation that I want here, right? If you look at my best time, right, as you can see here, I killed the first team in 51 seconds, and here I killed the first team in 58 seconds. So that's about a 7-second gain from using Rain in this comp. However, by throwing Rain out of the Belinda comp, but the Belinda comp now takes 50 seconds to kill the boss, whereas in my best attempt, she only took 33 seconds. So that's obviously not worth doing. But that's actually it for me. I'm kind of busy today, so I won't be going over different guides. But if you want like a more holistic guides and also some more best in slot formation guides, if you have more Awakened Heroes build, I would highly recommend you check out my video from last week. However, the only thing that obviously changed from last week is the boss buff. Wow, that's quite something to say. The boss buff changing from this team to this team, and that shuffles up the leaderboard a bit and makes it slightly less free-to-play friendly this round. But obviously, you could also always just look at the top of your leaderboards and be able to look at the best in slot formations. But in my previous guide, I did have some different variations linked from some Chinese guides. But that's it from me. I know it's a short guide. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm kind of busy today. Take care.